What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. And, well, the White House is growing more and more concerned about these UFOs, these unidentified flying objects that they're shooting down here basically by the day here. And they're defending their decision to shoot down the last three unidentified objects. Take a listen to what the White House has to say about this.
Outside of recovery operations, what are we doing? Well, first, we are continuing to monitor. There are no active tracks today, but the professionals at NORAD will continue to do their important work. Secondly, we are consulting with allies and partners on the challenge of identified aerial phenomenon and how we can all work together to deal with that challenge. The President has directed the Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and the Director of National Intelligence to engage with their relevant counterparts to share information and to try to gain their perspectives as well. Again, this is an issue that affects everybody around the world. Third, we will continue to brief members of Congress and relevant state leadership on what we are doing and what we learn. The President has made this a very top priority. We have, over the course of just the last few days, and certainly over the course of last week, reached out to inform and brief members of Congress and relevant state governors of the operations that we were conducting and of the recovery operations that are underway. We've also kept Congress briefed generally on this issue of Chinese surveillance balloons, including classified briefings last August. And last week, administration officials provided classified briefings for all senators and all members of the House of Representatives on the PRC surveillance balloon. We fully expect and anticipate and support the ability to continue these briefings in the days ahead. And fourth, the President, through his National Security Advisor, has today directed an interagency team to study the broader policy implications for detection, analysis, and disposition of unidentified aerial objects that pose either safety or security risks. Every element of the government will redouble their efforts to understand and mitigate these events.
However, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, leader of the Republicans in the Senate, says, "What in the world is going on?" Here's what he has to say.
Now, on an entirely different matter, there's something unusual going on in our nation's skies. President Biden needs to communicate and level with the American people. About 2 weeks ago, the American people learned that a Chinese spy balloon had crossed into our airspace and was taking its time surveilling our homeland. We watched it tour a big chunk of the country before the administration finally, belatedly, took it down. Since then, the public has seemingly heard about another new unidentified flying object, seemingly on a daily basis. Yesterday, one of our F-16s shot down something they still have not identified near Lake Huron. The day before that, in consultation with Canada, an American F-22 shot down something else over the Yukon. The day before that, we took out something else over Alaska. The administration has still not been able to divulge any meaningful information about what was shot down. What in the world is going on? Has the Biden administration just dialed the sensitivity of our radars all the way up? If so, what are these objects that we are just now noticing for the very first time? Are they benign science projects and wayward weather balloons, or something more nefarious that we've somehow been missing all this time? President Biden owes the American people some answers. What are we shooting down? Where did they come from? Whether they are hostile or not, is there coherent guidance about when to shoot them down? If the administration knew all along about China's surveillance efforts, why did it not have options to shoot that balloon down before it maneuvered itself all across the country? Did the right people in the government know about this surveillance threat? Did ODNI and DOD not adequately share intelligence about the growing threat? How did we get into a position where the greatest nation in the world doesn't know what is traversing our own airspace? How long has the domain awareness gap that NORTHCOM Commander General Van Herk has identified existed. And what has the department done about it? The commander-in-chief owes the country some answers.
Now, honestly, if you ask me, I don't think that we were tracking all these before. I think that the way they are now tracking the radar, the way they've tweaked the radar, the way they have adjusted the radar now, now all of a sudden we're picking all these up. And honestly, for years and years in the past, we really weren't picking them up. We were maybe only tracking a very few percentage, maybe 1% or less of the spy balloons that were out there. And it's a concern. It's a concern because honestly, we really don't know what was out there. And to be honest, it's not really just spy balloons because this could have also meant drones. Don't forget, they use military drones. We've seen them used over in Iraq and in military situations. They're using them in Ukraine as well. They literally use these type of drones to drop bombs nowadays. So the question is, now obviously we haven't seen a disaster type scenario happen yet, but you think about, like, this is actually, I mentioned this in one of the previous videos, this is a good lesson for the United States to learn now and to adjust our radar. And thankfully it has happened before something disastrous has happened. I mean, you think about, things like, 9/11. It was a terrible, terrible tragedy. And what happened, we had to adjust safety measures, right? When you get on the plane now, you have to go through all these security checks. Pearl Harbor happened, and what happened? They had adjusted security measures for the United States and all these different things, right? And now they have to adjust security measures for sky surveillance, right? And FAA, all this radar, NORAD, all this stuff, right? Because honestly, apparently our skies were not very secure. In fact, listen to this video, and I think you'll understand a lot more actually about what goes on in our skies and all around the world. This is a very good video. Take a listen to this.
Now to the ongoing story of unidentified flying objects crossing into American and Canadian airspace. 4, including a Chinese spy balloon, have been shot down over the last week. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby fielded dozens of questions about the matter today, and specifically what's known about China's balloon program.
We were able to determine that China has a high-altitude balloon program for intelligence collection that's connected to the People's Liberation Army. It was operating during the previous administration, but they did not detect it. We detected it. We tracked it. And we have been carefully studying it to learn as much as we can.
For more on the detection and decisions to shoot down these objects and where they could be coming from, we turn to retired Major General Scott Clancy. Formerly of the Canadian Air Force, his last assignment was Director of Operations at the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD. General Clancy, welcome and thanks for joining us. John Kirby and other officials have said we're seeing more of these objects in part because we're looking more, right? There have been some changes at NORAD in terms of ratcheting up the defense detection there. Explain to us what's happened. What's different at NORAD? What are they seeing now they weren't before?
So that's a great question. General Van Erck alluded to it in his Pentagon briefing, the commander of NORAD, right after the shoot down of the Chinese balloon, the very first object. And what he said was he had intelligence gaps that he has since closed. And then after the first shoot down of these unidentified objects in Alaska, it was made clear that they have changed the filters on the radar. So what that means is that when you have radar data that's coming in, it can be overwhelming to the operators of that, so that they will filter out those things that aren't pertinent to the threats that you're expecting. So for example, in this instance, it was probably, we're not going to look at targets, or we don't want any radar information with airspeeds below, let's say, 80 knots, which means that because you're looking for, aircraft and cruise missiles that go hundreds of miles an hour, then you wouldn't be looking at that. Now they're seeing that data and they're getting more track.
So one of the questions, of course, is that the first balloon, a flying object, was clearly they've identified as a Chinese spy balloon. The questions around these last three objects and what they were, and we spoke earlier with a man named Paul Fetkowitz. He's actually head of the largest provider of weather balloons to the U.S. government, including to the military. And he said on any given day, there are some 300 balloons up in the air over the United States. He thinks these last three objects that were shot down were likely government or privately funded research devices. Take a listen to what he said.
Now NORAD is picking up, potentially lighting up like a Christmas tree, because they're picking up all these funded research programs. You know, the Southern Great Plains Research, the Department of Energy, the North Slope Project, all the artillery bases, all the test ranges that we have here in the United States that are launching balloons on a regular basis could potentially be picked up, because these balloons go up to 100,000 feet, every one of them.
General Clancy, could he be correct?
Sure, he absolutely could be correct. As General Van Erck alluded to, and I think that all the agencies in both nations are being very prudent with respect to attribution of what these things are until they get some idea from the wreckages of exactly what they are. Now, I will cause a little bit of concern here. It could be these things. That doesn't really ring true to me, however, and here's the reason why. In NORAD, not all of these research elements, but the vast majority of weather balloons that are launching within the flight restrictions of the FAA. We're saying that then very quickly afterwards, they're going to come back down to that. That's not how these balloons are set to operate, and that's why they're not a threat to civil aviation. These were persistent. They were persistent through the airspace and had been tracked in some instances for multiple days. That's more indicative of something that is a intelligence gathering asset and not just a weather balloon that's designed to go up into the atmosphere and then come down.
In the minute or so we have left, I guess the question is if they are detecting many more flying objects, at some point there's a determination some of them are enough of a threat to shoot down. You've been inside NORAD there. How is that decision made?
It's made through a complex web of categorization of those systems. And the first step in that is identifying exactly what that is, and which is why NORAD launched aircraft to obtain visual identification of them prior to engaging them. I think the predominant rationale or category or factor that was involved in these last three was the risk to civil aviation. And that's why that decision was made at that time.
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of objects in the skies. And honestly, you gotta think about this. Why did they even need so many weather balloons in the skies? Uh yeah. So one thing's for sure is that now they're going to be monitoring and noticing a lot more of what's in the skies, a lot more. And at the bare minimum, this sends a message to other countries that may have been uh, perusing our skies and shouldn't have been a lot more. Or what I'm saying here is that they shouldn't be coming into our skies here, and this sends a message that now we're actually noticing it. But the problem is who knows how long they were, and they probably have a lot of information that they pretty much probably got everything they wanted, right? Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here about this in the comment section. I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. So if you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and the bell icon after you subscribe. It's completely free to do so, so you won't miss out on any new videos that come out here every day on our YouTube channel at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
What's up, guys? It's Jimmy here.
It's Julian here, right?
No, it's Jimmy and Julian here.
Yeah. And you want to say happy Valentine's Day to everybody?
Happy Valentine's Crazy Day.
Yeah. So, yeah, are you going to be everybody's Valentine's?
Yeah.
And what does your shirt say here? Mommy got you this Valentine's shirt. Let's see it.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, tic-tac-toe with the Valentines, huh?
It's tic-tac-toe with the hearts. Hello. Oh, you can be in here too. So, subscribe on this video. So, subscribe on this video, and you'll see all the videos of it.
Yeah. You'll be a YouTuber yourself one day, huh, buddy?
Yeah. On the whistle tomorrow.
Julian, what did you color this morning for Valentine's Day?
I was coloring paints and about Valentine's Day.
Oh, maybe I can show everybody what you sent me for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and
This is what you sent me.
yeah.
This is what you colored for me, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Show him the teddy bear one, Julian. Can you show him the teddy bear one?
This one?
No, the teddy bear.
No, here. No, here, Julian. Go in your photos and find it.
Photos.
Go to the photos.
That's no. I can do it.
Yeah, Daddy, I can do it. You worry about yourself.
Yeah. Wow. Very nice, buddy. You're growing up too quickly. All right, buddy. Can you say, "We love
We
you"?
love you.
And say Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
And-
And no, I am me do it.
Oh, okay.
Click up here, all the way up here, and click up there and down below. Subscribe on this video.
You almost knocked the whole camera over.
Sorry.
Yeah, and tell us what you're doing for Valentine's Day. If you're doing anything special, down below in the comments.
High five! High five!
All right, well, thanks for watching, guys. We love you. Thanks for being part of our YouTube family, our extended family. And we will see you in the next video. You can click here to watch our newest video next.
No, click over here and up and down. You never up.
Over here. Say over here, right? Over here.
Over here and down here. Over here and up here.
And we will see you in the next video.
You in the next video.
Bye-bye.
Happy Valentine's.
Bye-bye. Happy Valentine's Day.